grabbed the toolbox and went out there.
They got 10/24.
So it's Tuesday the 7th. It's Danny Blau's birthday. He's down there. Don't bother with the camera. We are at Don Pancho Villa here in Kokomo, and I had a really taco loco. It's kind of crazy, but I had some tacos.
Crazy!
Most of us, being homers around here, went to the Indiana State District Championships, Indiana District Championships in Indy. It was a good event. I think we had 10 teams that qualified, plus a couple teams that got in off the wait list. So there's about 12 or 13 teams. 13 teams going to the World Championships from Indiana. A few of us are going to be in Michigan this coming week. We'll surprise some friends and show up in Michigan this weekend. Liz is going to Philly for the MAR Championships to see what's up out there. I hear that there's like
473 were signed up yesterday.
473 teams are signed up for the World Championships out of 600 that are going to be invited eventually, which means I don't think there's too many teams coming off the wait list. Might be a few, but I think that for those of us who are waiting on waitlist invites for the championships, probably not going to happen to many teams because they've been opening up that wait list a little bit already, and there's still a lot of teams that have to qualify. Michigan still need to fill their spots.
They're going to qualify 128 teams this weekend. 128 spots will be spoken for. Plus, these are district championship teams that are the best of the best in their area. You might see almost 95%.
I'm not going to get that.
Want to make a bet on it?
Oh, jeez.
Sure. Let's define the bet.
95% or greater is my bet.
Maybe we should do a
Of the
spreadsheet.
teams who are qualified and get an invite, you're saying that 95% of those teams from the Michigan District Championship, MAR, and New England First, 95% of those teams who are invited first are going to say yes and pay their way to go to the championships.
Yes.
Can we name the bet?
I think that they're going to go through other teams within those districts and then get into the wait list, and the number will be lower than 95%. I think it's maybe more like 80 or 85.
We actually don't know the rules.
For MAR Championship?
I am excited for MAR Championships. I will be there representing AndyMark this year and basically just hanging out with all the teams there. Just exciting.
Are you FTA?
I am not.
What?
I'm just hanging out. Yeah.
Liar.
Not lying. Well, I'll probably end up helping out.
You're going to end up helping.
Yeah, I'll probably end up helping out.
We're actually somewhat videotaping.
Yeah, just one of them.
Is that Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just missed your call. Tell her I'm sorry.
Tell me we're filming.
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Pacific Northwest had 51 teams. No. How many teams were in Pacific Northwest? They had an ungodly amount of teams that had a qualification average of over 100 points. Out of 64 teams out at Pacific Northwest at the championship, 50 teams had a qualification average of 100 points or more. So that shows the strength of the teams out there and also the depth of quality of their scoring ability. The scores range from a low average score of about 70 points and a high score average that Shockwave got of 163. In Indiana, 168 was the top average from Cyber Blue, and the bottom was 97. I expect higher scores in Michigan, well, because there's more teams, but there's going to be a distribution that's probably the same type of range, maybe a little bit higher at the top end, maybe a little bit lower on the bottom end, because there's going to be like 104 teams at Grand Rapids this coming week. I wouldn't want to scout. I wouldn't want to be on the scouting team for Michigan State Championships this week.
Do you have to have a scouting crew for each field then? Or you divide it up like you watch these teams and you just follow that team which field they go to?
Are they running both fields at the same time?
It's every other match. They go bam, bam, bam. So the scouting crew is always scouting like this, unless they have two different scouting crews. That'd be hard.
That was, yeah.
They did that in 2006 in Toronto, and we were there. And we had a scouting crew that revolted at the end of the day. They actually did. They said, "We're not scouting tomorrow. This was hard." Now, how many teams are at MAR and how many teams are at New England?
New England has 61 teams attending their district championship.
Thanks,
And
Danny.
Mid-Atlantic has 54, and Michigan has 101.
It was kind of tough having the district championships here in Indiana on last weekend because there were two things happening. It was Easter weekend, which is kind of tough for people who have plans with their church. And then the second thing was there was this silly basketball tournament in Indianapolis this past weekend, so hotel prices were kind of high. I'm excited to see some of the designs that were maybe kept behind and teams haven't used yet for some of these state championship events. No, district championships events, or especially at the World Championships. So, World Championship alliances, are they 4 robots?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's more likelihood, if you go to the World Championships, you have more of a likelihood to be in a finals match this year
In the 75-team division.
than most of the district championships or even the big regionals, because there's only 75 teams per alliance and 75 teams per field, and 32 of those teams are going to the finals. So almost a 50% chance of going to the finals if you go to the World Championship. What, 40% chance?
That's still high.
32 divided by 75, whatever that is. It used to never be that high. So if you're going to the Worlds, you have a good chance of being in an alliance. We'll see you at the Michigan District State Championship. And Liz, look up Liz in Philly. I'm sure she'll be doing something very productive.
It's at Lehigh. It's not exactly in Philly.
It's not in Philly, it's in Lehigh.
It's at Lehigh University.
It's kind of like Black Keys a little
So
bit.
this
Not
is
as-
where
not as
I'm
bluesy
from,
as
this
Black
area
Keys.
over here. This is where Philadelphia is over
You
here.
might like her.
And that
I'll
is
check.
where Lehigh University is.
Take a gander.
In Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Close to Allentown, Pennsylvania. And
Do on a computer.
on the left side of the Mar district area.
Depends on which program. Not a system level.
Oh, Jerry Bud.
Picture of Jerry shows up.
I'm ready. Jerry's ready. So thanks for listening. See you next week. Have a good division championship weekend.